I'm getting some comments like this now on that video about Herbert Hoover and how his actions and choices and his tariffs and his racism and his repatriation of Mexicans and his like pouring money into the banks and the railroads instead of the American people led to the decimation of America during the Great. And you guys should know that this conversation that I'm having with you guys, it doesn't just come from textbook knowledge. My grandparents actually lived as children through the Dust Bowl in Kansas during the Great Depression. Yeah, I actually had to do a really extensive interview with my grandfather for college. It lasted hours and hours and hours. And he used to talk to me a lot about his childhood when I would speak to him. And let me just tell you, right? Let me just tell you that this was not a great time for anyone in America except for the new money millionaires and billionaires like Andrew Mellon and Herbert Hoover. Because here's what happened to my grandfather, okay, during this great time for America when the stock market crashed and America went into the Great Depression. My grandfather was forced to drop out of school during sixth grade. Sixth grade, and he was the second eldest of his siblings. He had 6 siblings, so most of the siblings were younger than him. He had to drop out of school and spend his days walking farm to farm to farm for the ones who survived, the farms that survived, which were mostly immigrants. But he had to basically go and beg for work as a sixth grader with literally no shoes because his shoes rotted and fell off and his parents couldn't afford anything. They had to make their clothing out of potato sacks, which again, yes, they did have to go and walk to town and beg for potato sacks, empty potato sacks from the little, the shop, the only little store in their little town in Kansas. They would have starved to death, my grandfather told me, had it not been for a couple miles down the road, there was a Dutch farm and they had gotten themselves established and they were completely self-sustained and they had all these preserves and these methods of preserving stuff. So they survived the Great Depression and they basically fed my grandfather's family. And sometimes all my grandfather's family would have is like a jar of peach preserves to eat, and that's what they would get paid in. When they didn't have that, they would have to scratch together enough money to go and buy a big like bucket thing of lard, and they ate lard sandwiches for years. My grandfather didn't even know what a mattress was. He had never seen a real mattress in real life until he left to become a paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division in the Army in World War II as a paramedic. They were so dirt poor during the Dust Bowl, during the Great Depression in Kansas, all of them sleeping on a dirt floor, okay, that he had never seen a mattress until he went into the Army. And guess what? My granddad was one of the lucky ones because he had friends that starved to death. Entire families disappeared because they couldn't survive in Kansas in the Dust Bowl, so they had to just wander the roads and hope that they could find some place to go. The Grapes of Wrath, you guys, that was real. John Steinbeck was a socialist who watched this happen, who went into the homeless camps, who went into the tramp camps, who was on the road with these people during this great time in America, the Great Depression, okay? Your average American who was lucky not to starve to death. So when you people are on here going, that's when America was great, it wasn't. It was great for about 150 people, and those 150 people were related to the Carnegies, to the Mellons, to the all those old new money families. So no, we're not gonna do the whole the 1930s is when America was great. The Great Depression is one of the most embarrassing chapters in United States history.